Hi, I'm Micaela, registered physiotherapist with Instil Physio. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about why you would want to learn how to do the Piston Breath. And the Piston Breath is from Julie Wiebe, physical therapist. Her website is linked in the notes for this video. So I teach all female athletes that I work with the Piston Breath, regardless of what their injury is that they come in for. And I also advocate for teaching this to female athletes way before they have an injury. So at puberty is a really great time, pre-postpartum, so while pregnant and after having a baby, if you choose to do that. And learning from an early age how to integrate the piston into your movement, your fitness, and your sport training is going to set you up to learn how to move your body the way you need to. Because one of the issues that we have with fitness and sport training is that we tend to use a recipe, so a one size fits all. So we cue everybody to stick their chest out, or we cue everybody to draw their ribs down, or we cue everyone to tuck their pelvis. And we do the same thing for everybody, and it just doesn't work. And I've seen the fallout in my practice, and I've learned from fantastic practitioners like Julie Wiebe, who are really paving the way for female athletes. So I'm sharing this with you because it's really important. It's something that you can do to take your own athleticism into your hands and work on it. So in another video, which is linked here, I walk you through the basics of the Piston Breath. Why the Piston Breath? So as you know from the other video, this is talking about your anticipatory core. So when we talk about core, we often think of our abdominals, our six-pack muscles, and our obliques, right? Side planks, crunches, rotation, doing those things. And usually female athletes are taught how to grip, 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 brace, 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 okay? So you squeeze your abs, turn your abs on, engage your abs, right? You've heard it, okay? Now, that's okay. Sometimes that works, but it's not the movement that you can use for everything. And I'm gonna explain why. So first of all, we just have to back up a little bit. We talked about six-pack muscles and obliques. Now, the Piston Breath teaches you how to use something called your anticipatory core, which is your diaphragm, helps you with breathing, your pelvic floor, it's the foundation of your pelvis and your core. It literally keeps your organs inside of you, and it has direct connections to your hips. So it helps you control your pelvis and control your lower body movement. And then you have your transverse abdominals, which is the deepest layer of your abdominals, and they wrap all the way around you, and they go from your ribs to your pelvis. These three muscles work together in a coordinated fashion with your breath to prepare you for movement and help you execute it efficiently. Now, you've heard me say this before, variety and efficiency of movement is what helps an athlete with their athleticism, because you need to be able to get the job done several different ways. You run into problems when you start using the same movement to get the job done every single time, okay? So if you squeeze your abs and that's your go-to strategy for connecting to your core, there's going to be a time where it doesn't work and you're gonna end up in trouble. And that's what I see in my practice. What happens is when you know about your anticipatory core, and anticipatory means that it preps you for movement, then you can start putting that with your training. So if you know that when you breathe in, your diaphragm goes down, your pelvic floor lengthens, and your abs lengthen. And when you breathe out, your pelvic floor contracts and lifts and your abs contract. Then you can start putting that with your training so that you're giving yourself a variety of movement. Female athletes will end up, if they're doing a lot of ab gripping and they've only learned, like you've only learned how to connect to your core by squeezing your abs, you're gonna end up in trouble. Try and squeeze your abs and rotate your body. It's really hard to do. So if you play a sport where you need to rotate, so anything where you have to run, overhead sports, anything that you have to turn your body, that becomes really challenging if your body just only knows how to grip and hold. The other thing, female athletes can end up with trouble with something called stress urinary incontinence, which is leaking urine when you're doing something stressful, like jumping, running, coughing, sneezing, laughing. So we now know that female athletes who have not had babies are leaking when they're playing sports. They're leaking urine. And this is a pressure management problem. And what I see in my practice is if you are ab gripping and you don't know how to use this anticipatory core, you end up leaking. Because what happens is if I'm squeezing my abs all the time and then I add jumping and bouncing, that's a mismanagement of pressure. And what happens is the pelvic floor loses the ability to control that and you get leaking, okay? So that's one way that happens, but it's a common way. So if you learn how to put those movements together with your breath and build it into your training, you're now giving your body more than one option to connect your core that allows you to have more efficiency of movement and more variety of movement. And it's not a hard thing to do to integrate into your training. So that's why you need to learn how to use the piston breath and put it into your training. It then also, so to eliminate only ab gripping, then also every female athlete's body is different and you go through different changes. So you need something unique to you that you can do. So if you know how you need to position yourself to connect to that core, then you can make those adjustments that you need in your sport training, in your injury rehab if you have an injury, and for your sport performance. So for some people, the cue to draw their shoulders back might work really well, and for other people that won't. For some people, they may need to engage their abs by squeezing, and for other people, they won't. When you learn how to do the piston breath, you can gauge that for yourself because you can feel, oh, I can really feel my pelvic floor now. I've got a good breath. I'm in a good position. This is good. I'm going to work here. And if you can't, you know something's up. Maybe your positioning is off in your exercise. Maybe the exercise isn't the right one for you right now. Maybe the load is too high. Maybe you're tired. Maybe something's injured. It starts to give you information about your body way before you end up in trouble. So this is why I want you to learn the piston breath, because then you learn how you need to move. You can make adjustments for yourself, and you also then know when something is off, okay? And my goal in sharing this with you is I want to help you achieve your sport performance goals. So if you have questions about the piston breath, let me know. If you're a healthcare provider or an athlete and you want to learn more, also follow Julie Wiebe. She has great information. I hope you got something from that and would love to hear what you think.